Shalom, shalom. This is part two, continuing on from where we had left off at. Brothers and sisters, in this particular regard, how is it about the aspect of asking or expecting or anticipating reparations from anyone when we still have to work upon ourselves in that particular regard? You see, this is something that we want to point out for edification purposes. When the Europeans picked us up, they knew good and well that we were already a strong people. They the ones who needed repairing as far as being connected or closer to the land and the earth. You understand? So, with that being the case, let's get back into what we were going to be talking about. In Malachi 4 verse 5, we read, "Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Most High." Elijah was a person that was mentioned in the Old Testament, if you want to call it the Old Testament, in the book of Kings. It says, "And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers." Let's stop right there. If we know, can see, and understand that the family structure is broken, the unity is broken between parents and children, how then can we sit there and think of someone else giving reparations? And when most speak upon reparations, hands down, brothers and sisters, and I say this not to be offensive or anything of that sort, what they're talking about is this. This is what they want, much more than what I'm seeing them showing in my hand. That's what they're talking about when they're singing upon reparations. They want money. It has nothing to do with records of your family or the past. It has nothing to do with let's go on ancestry.com and try to find out what tribe or where from, or cornering the Israelites in order to sit there for us to explain why we say what we're saying about us having roots going back to the land of ancient Israel and the people of the Bible. That's not what they're talking about when they say reparations. They're not even going to put the Israelites on Front Street for us to even sit there and make our stance about why do we say what we say if we really want to talk about repairing a breach. You understand? What they're talking about is what was just shown, which was the moolah, the bread, the money. That's what they're talking about when they say that they want upon reparations. That's sad because there's no way in the world, as been pointed out before, when you have Washington, Lincoln, Hamilton, Jackson, Grant, and these other characters on these dollar bills who all were in part of the slave trade, one way or the other, even Lincoln. You understand? Yes, Lincoln did have the guy, the slave trader Nathaniel Gordon, slain for slave trading, but Lincoln's wife was from a slaveholding family. So that's something we want to emphasize on in that particular regard. Until, and this goes out to Israel, the Israelites, until we can sit there and do what we need to do, should do, know what we're supposed to do as fathers, as men, for the females, as wives, as mothers, for those who have no children, as brethren and sisters. There's no way in the world we can comfortably fix our mouths to ask anybody or hope from anybody any reparations when there are Israelite businesses, but we don't even support them. There's no reason why on Facebook that there are people promoting classes and there's no shares. There's no reason why that sister that does the Hebrew classes with the children, that she has to sit there and say, share this, share this. We should already do that. That's not something that should be a surprise. It should not be a surprise when a person is given support. That person should be like, me? Why? Why would you want to do that for me? That's something we're supposed to do. When we read earlier on part one of this, when it speaks about, remember ye the law of Moses, my servant. Part of it says, don't stand idly by the blood of your neighbor. So with that being the case, though we're not bleeding, maybe literally, we are, as it says, we're going to go into this part right here. When we read Isaiah chapter 1, we're going to start in verse 3. And it says the following. The ox know his owner, and the donkey his master's crib. But Yisrael doth not know. My people do not consider. Ah, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupted. They have forsaken the Most High. They have provoked the Holy One of Yisrael unto anger. They are all gone away backward. Why should you be stricken any more? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. So, like it says about us in Isaiah chapter 1, if we understand, as it says in Malachi, about remembering the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the law of Moses says, don't stand idly by the blood of your neighbor. And we can see our description in Isaiah as far as being having sores and putrefying sores that have not been closed up nor given ointment upon it, then yeah, we're bleeding. We're bleeding. You understand? And so the family structure that we spoke about earlier, the fact Malachi talks about the hearts of the fathers being turned to the children and the hearts of the children to their fathers, that will be our reparations. That will be what will repair us, the family structure. Until then, and as long as you got people sitting up there thinking reparations can be anything that these dead rapists that's on this currency is, we still got a long way to go. With that, shalom.